Feen, there's a never before had problem. I have a huge problem and it's never happened.
What's your problem?
There's so much good fucking anime.
Yeah, so you didn't get to watch any shithouse anime this time.
Like, there's all this anime I want to watch because it's good. And not because it's shit.
Yeah, see, this season you didn't get to hide behind, like, watching that awful Black Rock shooter or Tomodachi game and all that stuff.
Oh my fucking god. Oh yeah, I'm just watching things that are like interesting, and I got to the end of the episodes that are out and I'm like, I hope more episodes come out soon so I can watch them and see what happens next. Weird.
Yeah, what a strange thing.
So hey everybody, it's Anime Slushy, I'm Cube.
I'm Feen. Yeah, so it's the fall 2022 anime season taster, a thing we do sometimes. We don't do it every season because sometimes there's seasons where we look at what's coming up and we're just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's like, okay, there's a couple, I guess I could get...
yeah, but we got to watch a few more to pad it out, and I can't be bothered. But no, this season, like, there's just a number of really well put together things. Like, even the Cloverworks anime I'm watching seems quite good and looks really good.
Wait, which one's Cloverworks? Is that Bocchi?
Yeah, Bocchi the Rock.
Shit.
Which makes me worried, because so far it's really good and I want it to keep being good, but it's Cloverworks. But I guess we'll see.
Well, it is based on a manga, right? That's supposed to also be good?
Yeah, but see, they've done stuff based on manga before that was like bad. Like look at what was that? The one about the couple who had the BDSM thing at school.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that turned out. Yeah. Anyway,
guess we'll seize. So.
Well, do we need to address something first, though?
Yeah, up front, there's a ruby-shaped elephant in the room, going. Bam, 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 bam. So, if y'all haven't heard, Rooster Teeth, there's been things happening publicly about Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, so the thing is that, like, it's been well known for a long time that Rooster Teeth has not been a great place to work.
There's been a lot of Glassdoor reviews. There
was the whole Shane letter. There's been other testimonials from other employees and people connected to the company before that made it clear that, you know, people got underpaid, unpaid overtime, lots of crunching, occasionally sort of a fairly hostile work environment, you know. There was all the controversy surrounding Genlock and the production of that dragged resources away from other shows, which is controversial because Genlock was the love child of the
animation director.
So, yeah, there's all that sort of stuff. So it was one of those things where you always knew it was bad, but then just recently there's been some more layoffs. So there was a guy called Matt who was laid off from, I think, Achievement Hunter.
Yeah.
And Caden Jensen, who's was the voice of May, and was also on-screen talent at Rooster Teeth for about 9 years. She hasn't been working there for a while, and she was like, you know, sort of subtweeting Rooster Teeth a reasonable amount. And so when Matt got sacked, she ended up doing an AMA on Reddit about her time there and what she knew about what was happening with Ruby and stuff. And a couple of people asked her if she'd be willing to talk about her experiences at Rooster Teeth, and she said, "Yeah, I think I might." And she did a post, and well,
she sure talked about her experiences at Rooster Teeth.
Yeah,
I would say that she had some experiences.
Yeah, she had some
at Rooster Teeth.
She had some real experiences at Rooster Teeth. The one that stuck in everyone's head from her post was about how a few weeks into working there at a work meeting, everyone just started calling her the F slur. This is when she was still presenting as a man. And after the meeting, someone said, "Were you okay with that?" And you know, she just started working there, so she just sort of tries to play along with it. And they tell her, like she says, "Yeah," and they tell her, "Good, because that's your nickname from now on." And they just call her that around the office every day, except on air where she was called Fugs, which was a shortened version of the F slur.
So much.
And on top of that, there was constant wage theft in the form of unpaid overtime, overworking.
None of the employees that did voices for Ruby got paid for it. That's just something that's known now.
Yeah, Caden didn't get paid at all for voicing May. She would take these issues to HR every now and again, and at one point was told, "You're too nice to work here," instead of someone doing something about what she was being called and how she was being addressed. And after she released that post, I think over 20 other Rooster Teeth employees started coming forward with their own stories.
Yeah, there was a lot of, you know what, fuck it energy, and everybody just started coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. So it's, and the stories are just horrific, like intense workplace racism. The way the creator of Nomad from Nowhere was treated was like pretty horrific. Just a lot of like people who really got broken by that place. And so, like I say, we knew that Rooster Teeth was not a great place to work, but knowing just how intensely bad a place it was to work, it's safe to say we were already less enthused about Ruby after the end of Volume 8. This has made us sort of go, you know what? I don't think we're going to talk about Ruby anymore.
Yeah, we know too much now, because it's like when I see those horrible models, I'm going to remember that the rigger was talking about all the details of the horrible setup they had going there and all the issues that could have been avoided, and it's all so bad.
Yeah, it's just everything about the place is cursed. Everything that place produces is produced in like a pretty horrific environment. And like Rooster Teeth have claimed that things have gotten better since 2020 because they brought in some outside HR mob or something, but like there are complaints that have happened since 2020 and people are saying that not much has changed. So
yeah,
there's conflicting reports, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of this stuff isn't all that different. And besides that, like the fact that it took them until 2020 to start addressing this stuff is not like a really positive thing to be bragging about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just no fun. There's no fun to be had anymore. The whole reason we discussed RWBY was like as much as we would get like performatively angry about it or occasionally actually angry. It was fun to break down this absurd show with all this bad writing, but no, that's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore knowing what happens there.
Yeah. It's just like anything about the show itself just kind of falls by the wayside next to everything you know about behind the scenes, where it's just the worst.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I mentioned this on Twitter, is that like us criticizing the writers for, their execution and work on RWBY, it doesn't really compare to what's been happening there. And a lot of the people who have come forward with stories have talked about how like Miles and Eddie in particular have been really supportive of people who've worked there and tried to help where they can. So it's one of those things where it's like, bad writing on a TV show and occasionally like racist, sexist, ableist writing on a TV show. It's bad, but it doesn't compare to like the actual direct harming of real human beings that's been happening at that place. So yeah, it just there's no comparison to any of this shit anymore.
Yeah. Not fun. You say that, we need to put some qualifiers on that, because there's still, like, things are still going to remind me of RWBY all the fucking time, especially today. There's going to be a show, we're going to talk about some fucking RWBY, but we aren't going to continue to cover RWBY as a product.
No. We're not going to cover Ice Queendom, we're not going to talk about Volume 9, or the 2 Justice League movies, or the fucking RFL game, or any of the other stuff that's been coming out. As much as I am still fascinated as to what the fuck has been happening there for the last 2 years in terms of the production of stuff, they're apparently simultaneously working on these 4 things and still nothing has come of it. Like, I want to know what the fuck happened there, but again, it's just like, we're not a fucking TV production show. That's not what we do. So,
well, I mean, if we could, I mean, hey, is anyone who works at RT? Are you listening? You want to, do a secret tell all? I can pixelate your face, by which I mean I can make Feen do it. So, let's get this going. No,
I'm going to get you to draw an avatar for them, and then I'll pixelate it so you can't see any of the drawing you did.
Hell yeah. Anyway, that's there. That's addressed.
Yeah, just so you know, but there's not going to be any more RWBY on this podcast. It's sad. This is a little bit sad because we had fun.
Yeah, it was an era. We had a lot of fun.
Anyway.
So what did you watch? Time for the good shit.
So I watched the new Gundam, the new Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. I watched Raven of the Inner Court. I watched Bocchi the Rock. And I watched My Master Has No Tail. What did you watch?
I watched Chainsaw Man and DIY Do It Yourself and Gundam Suisei no Majo. and Popute Pipiku.
Oh yeah, you watched fucking Pop Team Epic.
Popute Pipiku.
Legit, I was ready to watch Pop Team Epic, but then I saw you watch it and I was like, you know what? I don't need to watch that. I don't need to do that to myself. It's too stressful.
I only watched 3 episodes of that, so there's definitely some of that I haven't watched yet, but it's we'll talk about it. Okay. But I also watched a little bit of Hani no Hanazawa-san, which is the fucking show, the goofy show about the shadow murder person from Conan.
Oh, that thing. Show. Yeah. So you did watch some Conan. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and I watched the first episode of the Urusei Yatsura reboot, remake, homage thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
The Space Invader show.
Yeah, because that's I've heard such mixed things about that, or at least or mixed things, but like all the mixed opinions come from the same person.
Well, you'll know that it's the one thing that I've watched one of. Oh, someone brought up Mob. I decided with all these other things that I was busy watching, I decided to put Mob off, partly because for the sake of the tasters, we generally do like the first of a show, and Mob is technically a continuing, and I feel like it's one of those things where I'm just going to want to wait till the whole season is out and then just binge it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to catch up on Mob as well. well. I mean, honestly, Mob could be its own podcast to a certain extent. 80% of that podcast would be me talking about how much I love their Body Improvement Club.
They're perfect.
Yeah, they're perfect. They're perfect boys.
And yeah, I know I'm going to love it.
It's one of those things where it's like, there's at a certain point, like in a taster, what do you say about Mob other than, go watch Mob? It's good.
Well, you could talk a little bit about how season 2 has some rough eps compared to season 1, but it's still a good show. Since he's my son.
Yeah. Mob is a very good son.
So what are we talking about first, Fiend? Should we talk about the thing we both watched?
Yeah, we talk about Gundam.
We're not talking about Ruby anymore. Anyways, here's Ruby. Gundam Witchy Gundam. So I've watched episodes 0 through 4. I don't know if there's any more episodes out past that, but that's what I've seen.
I think as of recording 5 is out, but I've only watched 0 through 4 as well.
Hey.
So yeah, good. That's good. We're all caught up. Now I don't know about you. I am mostly like Gundam neophyte. I haven't watched really any Gundam before this, which is apparently a thing. Apparently, this one is bringing in a lot of people who haven't watched any Gundam before.
Yeah,
which is understandable based on like the pitch of this one is a bit different in terms of mostly female cast, all that sort of stuff.
I assume this was like a big like marketing meeting thing where they were like, we need to get like the moe crowd in for the guys that buy those figures that are like girls in mechas or like girls who are part mecha and part pantsu and whatnot, but. I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the thing of like you want to any long running sort of franchise, you want to refresh your audience a bit every now and again.
Yeah.
The only thing I really know about Gundam, there's that villain who occasionally, when he needs to go incognito, puts on sunglasses and calls himself Four Vaginas in broken Spanish.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a villain. He calls himself like Quattro something that sounds like vaginas. That's his.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there it is, Quattro Vagina. And his disguise is just putting on sunglasses and calling himself that. Amazing.
Yeah, Gundam is many things. I've seen some Gundams, not for a good while now. But there was ones that I enjoyed and everything, but it's hard to. It's such a big franchise.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, we have a mecha channel on the Discord that is mostly just Gundam, as far as I can tell, because there's a lot of Gundam to discuss.
And here's the thing: Gundams all look the same to me mostly. Like there's occasional standouts, but when it's you got the white one and it's got some blue on it and probably some red, kind of put it on there. It's shaped like a person. I'm not interested in that aspect of it.
This is your triangle blindness all over again. You
No, they look the same though.
They're all rectangles? Are they all rectangles?
No, they're all a blocky person. It's kind of a blocky guy. Just kind of running around, flying sometimes. Blocky guy. And sometimes the blocky guys kind of fly at each other and go pew, 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 pew.
I mean, it's true. That is like a rough description of what happens in a Gundam. So the setup of this one, a Gundam's usually about, it's galaxy spanning, well, not galaxy spanning, but in this case, solar system spanning war on some level. This one, at least for the moment, is focusing mostly on corporate war. All the action is corporate at the moment.
Yeah.
Corporations vying for control of stuff. There's a sort of class system in terms of people who are born on Earth and people who are born on not Earth, like in space or on other planets.
People who are born on Earth are the faunus, and people who are from space.
It's not that close to Ruby, all right? At least it has these things in common with Ruby, but none of that stuff came from Ruby. So
no, definitely that aspect didn't. There's there's that one scene where they have the protest signs, and it's like a news reporter cutting to the sign. It's like this class is blah blah complaining about this situation. I'm like, don't think about Ruby, don't think about Ruby, don't think about Ruby.
There's actually a prologue ep to the whole season, episode 0, which is set, I don't know, about 10, 15 years before where the actual season starts.
Yeah, with the big beat.
It sets up some stuff about how the sort of corporations work, and then it's a big military industrial complex where there's different companies are vying for control and building different weapons. At this stage of the story, there were these advanced new mobile suits that were being built called Gundams. Which the thing that made these things more advanced was they more deeply link into a person's brain, but at the state of development they were at, it does a lot of damage to the person if they link too much.
Yeah.
So it's just, which translates on screen to whenever you see someone using a Gundam, they get weird squares in their face and pant really hard.
Yeah. They digified too hard.
Yeah.
Ow.
For reasons that I don't think are entirely clear at this point, some of the other corporate overlords who control the regular mobile suit production decide that Gundams are fucked. They don't want them around, so they send a bunch of people in to kill everyone who builds a Gundam.
No, they had a very, very reasonable moralistic theory for it, which is people should kill people. Machines shouldn't kill people.
That's right.
It's okay if people kill other people via machines, but if your machines kill a people while you're trying to kill the other people, that's fucked up. And that's why we can't have a Gundam.
And there's also the thing of like, these Gundams, they're hurting the people who are designing them. Those poor people, they shouldn't have to go through that. Let's kill them.
Pew, 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 pew.
Let's kill them all. And they do.
Yeah, they break in and kill them all.
From that initial research station, the only people that escape is a young girl called, it was her 4th birthday, a girl called Soletta, and her mum, who escape in one of the advanced Gundams and they get away.
I do like how her mom is just big her.
Well, I feel like that's accurate.
But I mean, like, she had like all the like goofy hair, barrettes everywhere and stuff too.
Yeah.
She was ready to give birth to an anime girl.
Yeah. Now, when we meet her again at the school at the start of episode 1, she's called Soletta. She wasn't called Soletta back then, so she's had like a name identity change. There's a fan theory that like the Soletta we see at the school is not the baby we saw.
What?
There might be some time fuckery going on, but like I think it's based on the idea that like all the corporate leaders you see in the prologue, when you see them again in the main series, they seem a lot older than however long it would have taken Soletta to get to the age she's at. Look, there's lots of theories. I don't know.
These kids have fun.
Yeah. But and she's at the school. She's been raised on Mercury, which is considered a backwater.
Still better than those stinky Earthians.
Yeah, kind of. She goes to the school to learn how to pilot a big robot. Now, when she gets there, she spots someone just floating out in a spacesuit and goes to rescue them, and then that person hits her or headbutts her and says that I was trying to escape. And this is Minori. Minori?
I was going to say, I legitimately don't know her name. She's just Weiss to me.
Minorin, yeah. Here's the thing, and here's the reason that we're bringing up Ruby in this context, is that there's a lot of people who have been pointing to Soletta, who is this incredibly talented, quite young new pilot at the school.
Very Genki, kind of shy, short, reddish colored hair, very talented.
And Minorin is a white-haired tsundere, rich girl.
Daughter of the head of the company, very powerful, very Ojo-sama, very haughty.
Yeah, so people are drawing comparisons. I've seen quite a few White Rose, which is Ruby Weiss shippers, who seem to have pinned all of their hopes on Gundam because they never got satisfaction from the actual show.
Please feed us.
Yeah, but here's the issue I take. Minorin is very Weiss, extremely Weiss. There's a lot of Weiss going on there. I don't think Soletta is particularly Ruby-ish. She's got a touch of the Genki, but she is mostly extremely anxious and shy, and it's not. I don't think personality-wise she resembles Ruby much at all.
I was going to say, she reminds me more of Japanese voice Ruby, where she had that, like, really sweet voice and felt a little more, like, gentle socially.
Yeah. But Soletta's can barely talk to people with that. Like, she stutters constantly. She has some confidence in herself and, is determined and all that stuff. Like, archetypically, she has some similarities to Ruby, but not really not personality-wise, I don't think.
Yeah, her Ruby's levels aren't as high as the other girls' levels are Weiss levels, which is beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. It was funny because I saw one White Rose person sort of saying that this is proof that White Rose could have worked. And I was just kind of like, come on, man.
Meh.
First of all, any ship can work. You can make any ship work. That's not proof of anything.
That's true.
Second of all, this isn't White Rose.
Nah.
It just isn't. Like, she's not really.
It's not quite the same.
Which is not to say it's not gay. It's intensely gay.
Okay, but we gotta put the anime label on it because it is gay, but it's also playing games, playing fucking anime games.
It goes back and forth very quickly on, yes, we're gay, no, we're not gay. Yes, we're gay, no, we're not gay.
Games.
It's being a bit baity, it may never ship, but in terms of the anime level of gay, yeah, this is pretty gay. Because the other thing this show is Utena.
Yeah. It's Utena as fuck. You see the person who wins the duels at the school gets to be engaged to the girl, she's kind of like the princess, except she's the Weiss princess, the daughter of the head of the company.
Yeah, and how do you win a duel? How do you win a duel, Cube? What do you have to do?
You got it. Okay, here's the thing. I get it. They wanted to have something like the Rose and Utena. It's not quite the same. You have to like cut the antenna off of the head of the other mech, but like how their antenna looks is variable, and it's just not. It doesn't work quite as well to me as having like a rose that you got to knock off, or the pendant in our other Utena ripoff thing we watched.
But Utena, antenna.
Shut the fuck up. I noticed that too while I was talking, and I decided not to bring it up. One of the first things that happens is our girl comes in, wins a duel like you do, and then Weiss girl is like, will you marry me? And everyone's like, holy shit, it's like really legit gay. And then the next episode, it was like, but I mean, we're not like really engaged. Like, we're not like actually like romantic, please. But then it's like, are they gonna become more romantic? There's romantic-ish things happening, and a lot of the framing is romantic, but I mean, it's fucking anime. You know, those romantic two-girl friendships are a big thing. But
it definitely flip-flops a lot. Like, it's quite happy to end on a cliffhanger that's quite gay, and the next episode go, oh, don't worry, it's not actually gay.
Yeah.
But then later on that episode go, maybe it is gay.
It fucks with my heart.
We have to be clear, the person she beats in the first duel, and then again later another duel, is Gül Jerturk, which is like so close to just jerk fuel. Like, he's actually called Jerk. He's actually called Jerk because he's a jerk. And
he's one of the members of the very powerful dueling council, not the student council like Utena. They're the dueling council that our Utena must go up against and do duels to win, to maintain the relationship.
That dueling council doesn't do shit. It's just a bunch of kids in a room and they say something in front of them and it's like, yeah, we're done. You can go.
Okay, to be fair, the student council in Utena was kind of similar. They mostly just stood around talking very dramatically and getting letters. That's all it takes, really. One
of the arguments for it not being gay is the Porceletta has a second attempted fiancé, which is Gül, Jerk. After he is beaten the second time, suddenly proposes to her. There is something so funny about someone finding your proposal so abhorrent and disgusting that they run away from you in a Gundam. Like, they have to get into a Gundam, into a giant mecha mobile armored suit and fly away as fast as they can.
Look, it was also very, very out of left field.
Well, that too, yes. But it was a funny scene.
But see, I thought you were going to talk about the other guy in the dueling council who's like having like vague romantic interactions with her.
Yeah, there's another guy having romantic interactions with it. The point is that like the two people she's got actually pursuing her, like for a girl who is very, very shy, she has two tsundere love interests, and that's really unfair. Like she needs open, clear affection, this girl. Like, it's not fair.
No, she has to get with the Weiss because they're cute together, and the Weiss person has like fucking cockatiel as hair. She's like got a silly bird head, and I like it. And the show looks good, by the way. I mean,
oh, it does. Yeah,
they got that Gundam money.
Yeah, they got proper money making these things. I've enjoyed all the fights so far. They've been fun. It's always fun to watch. I do also, in general, like as much as I feel like it does move a little bit slowly, and I haven't found all of the corporate stuff that interesting so far. Because there's a whole thing with Soletta's mum is still around pretending to be like she wears a stupid helmet and is pretending to not be who she is.
She's doing like gender swap Char cosplay for corporate espionage, having a good time.
Yeah, there's all this stuff happening which isn't really grabbing my attention as much as the other stuff. But for the most part, all the characters are really fun. I like all of them. I think Soletta's quite fun. Like, as much as at first I was a bit frustrated by her just being a very sort of stuttery shy girl, but there's this way they play her sort of naive honesty that's kind of fun. In that, without even trying, she manages to talk mad shit on just about everyone she speaks to. Just sort of accidentally because she's just being honest.
Oh yeah, and she said like she's never been to school and stuff, so there's a lot of social stuff that she's like just encountering for the first time and is very excited about.
Yeah, and she wants to have, you know, friends who give her nicknames, and she's got a whole list of things.
Yeah, pretty cute.
Yeah, Minorine's fun. All of these kids are traumatized, as is traditional for a Gundam show, I understand.
Yeah. Oh, also Minorine has a fucking garden that she's always hanging out in. It's just tomatoes instead of roses. But it I want to be clear. I'm not mad that the show's ripping Utena off to this degree. It's bold. It's a bold choice. I accept it, and I respect it, and I see you.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's fine. This is what we've said about other shows before. Is like, if you're going to pull from stuff, as long as you execute it properly, it's not a problem.
Yeah. Tomato Bride.
People have also pointed out that there's a number of what seems to be plot mechanic similarities to The Tempest, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how real that is.
Yeah, well, I've seen like one of the, those sort of meme-ish lists of all the similarities of plot points so far. And it's kind of like, interesting. In terms of other characters, yeah, there's all the other council members who, for the most part, I'm not interested in. There's a bunch of cute characters in Earth House who are like, like we say, the Earthians are the downtrodden class.
Yeah, that's
so
their minority rep house.
Yeah. So they're all the nice kids. There's Nika, who's the one that everyone should actually be shipping with Soletta because she's just been nice to her and interested the whole time, and this is what Soletta means.
She's sweet little boy.
Yeah.
That's little boy.
And there's also Choo Choo, whose full name is Chuatsuri Pan Lunch, which God Gundam names.
Pan Lunch, that's right.
Gundam names are on a level with Fate names. Like Nasu and this guy can high five on their love of stupid names.
Such a typical Earthian name, Pan Lunch.
Now, Choo Choo gets a fair bit of focus by the time we get to episode 4. She's the one with incredible foofy hair that's like in 2 buns.
Yeah, she has like 2 giant cotton candy pink buns on either side of her head. It's pretty good. I don't know where they go when she's in her helmet.
Did you see there was some of the there's character design boards that got released, and there's one that explains how she does that with her hair, and it's very funny because you can tell they're taking the piss.
Excellent.
Because they all wear those swimming cap type things under their helmets.
Oh.
And it's just her like stretching it over the top of her hair and then it's going foomp, and it's gone. Like
Yeah, because I was wondering, I wonder if I missed any shots of, that kind of shot where they take the helmet off dramatically.
There it is.
Oh my god, that's excellent. Because I want to see it.
And no, they've been very careful to cut around Choo Choo getting changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, now Faust in the chat is asking, why does she have a nail bat? And it's because Choo Choo will punch a bitch.
She's eager.
That was the big highlight of episode 4. Was one of the best technically executed animated punches I've ever seen in an anime.
I fucking love that punch.
But it's not just me. Everyone on the internet's been talking about that fucking punch because it was so satisfying. Like, first of all, she was punching a cartoon racist, and I will say the racism in Gundam is very on the nose.
You're exactly like the people who are racist against you Earthians.
Yes, there is also some reverse racism that I wasn't a huge fan of that moment, but. The Spacians who have been picking on Choo Choo, who then go on to pick on Soletta as well during an exam because she's also a country bumpkin. They just look down on anyone. And so the whole thing was that Choo Choo didn't want Soletta joining the Earth house because she needed a house because she's a Spacian. Even though she's from Mercury, she's not from Earth. The Earthians have every reason from what we've seen to dislike Spacians because they are being oppressed by them and they are given shit by them. Like I say, cartoonish levels of racism directed towards them. Choo Choo sees Soletta being treated the same way and just realizes that Soletta has a lot of the same challenges and dreams that Choo Choo does. So she goes and finds the people who are responsible for messing with her during the exam and just punches one of them out. And it's pretty good. It was a very satisfying punch.
And then they get into just a fucking brawl, which is pretty sweet.
The best part about the brawl is that, because there were 2 of them. She's fighting the second one who's still upright. And you can see the other one in the background who's just still on the ground. Passed out, not getting up. They're dead.
She got a big punch.
I will say as well, again, Soletta's like, she wants to do all this stuff. She's got dreams and everything, but like she gets put in this position during this exam where her mech gets messed with so she can't see out of it, which makes the test really hard to accomplish. But she can retry it as many times as she wants. And Minarin's helping her out, and she's like, it gets to this point after like what seems like an hour or so where she just kind of has a breakdown because it's just so fucking hard and unfair. And there's just this moment where she's sobbing, and Minarin, is not good with emotions, and is just sort of yelling at her about how you have these dreams, you want to do this, and she's obviously trying to help her get through it, but she's just kind of yelling at her and saying, "Get back to the start, we're doing it again." And there's this moment where you see Soletta continue to sob as the robot just sort of trudges back to the start line, and I was just like, oh man, I know that feeling.
I felt that sobbing when she was in the jail cell. She gets temporarily arrested for shenanigans, and she's like crying into her food, and the way that it like builds up, and then she's just like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's been pretty well handled. Her crying fits generally.
Yeah. Like they feel very real,
well executed,
and it's rough. I think that's what I like about the characters in general is for the most part so far, despite how obviously anime all of this is and they're running around in giant robots, the characters feel pretty grounded for the most part, I think.
I don't know about grounded. They're all in space.
Even like Jerkface, we're starting to get reasons to be sympathetic towards him and get the sense that he's sort of Like his whole thing is his mum's dead and his dad's an arsehole who couldn't give a shit about him and is just kind of using him. And there's a moment where he's talking to Soletta and Soletta starts talking about her mum and how much she loves her and how much her mum has supported her. And Ghoul just can't handle it and just walks away. And it's just kind of like, oh man, that's rough.
These kids all got a dead parents. The main girl has a dead dad. The Weiss girl has a dead mom. That guy's got a dead mom. Shit. And then they both have shit dads.
Yeah. Choo Choo seems to be raised by a bunch of dads or something. Or like at least like there's...
Sometimes a family is 8 union dads, and that's good.
That sounds all right, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was raised by union dads.
She had so many dads they had to form a union.
They had a boss dad who was taking advantage of them?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Either way, sorry, I've rambled a fair bit. Gundam, it's worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep up with it.
I get the impression from other Gundam fans that people are sort of waiting for the shoe to drop a bit on this show in terms of some of them feel like it would be odd if we spent the entire time in the school and it was just corporate shenanigans.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering in terms of like the Utena comparison is like, yes, it's starting very Utena, but I don't know if, within a few episodes they'll all be out of school running around fighting corporate wars or whatnot.
Yeah, and they do, and it does seem like they're setting up some sort of revolution breaking out on Earth or something.
Mm-hmm. And I do kind of like the idea of the setup of like, like everyone works so hard to get to space and now the people that live in space have it all good and the people back on Earth are just completely drained of all resources and kind of fucked over.
Well, it's a very direct comparison to like, a potential future for us and also the current third world situation. Like there's definitely a thing we're doing here.
It's like, that makes sense. That makes some sense as a setup.
Yeah. And there's definitely stuff going on. There's a lot of interesting places it could go. I did see a Reddit post from an angry Gundam fan who was talking about the fact that people keep saying, like, when is the school going to get blown up and when are they going to go off to war and stuff? And this person was saying, why does everyone want this to turn into fucking Ruby? It's like, fair.
Shit, I didn't even think about that part.
And for someone who isn't a Ruby fan, who understands what Ruby is, yeah, that's a good point. You don't want things to turn into Ruby. It's not a positive. This is not a template.
Shit.
Anyway, do you have any more Gundam thoughts?
Damn. The uniforms are kind of all over the place. People like to talk about how there's something that looks like a tie that's actually like the zipper pull.
yeah, it's a design zipper pull.
But I noticed that there's like a lot of inconsistency in how they draw the shorts. Sometimes, depending on like the shot, they'll like suddenly be skin tight or not on the same character. No one else will notice this shit. But to me, I'm like, they don't know how to deal with shorts. These animators are like, where's our fucking skirt that we draw on every character? Why are you doing this to us?
I like the idea that they have a little pull somewhere on their clothes that can make their shorts skin tight. So if they just feel like getting around in hot pants for a while.
And the Weiss girl has like really look at my legs leggings that are very like legging appeal.
Yeah. I mean, it's anime.
They're feeding the people.
Yeah, you're gonna have some of this stuff. I did like.
Yeah.
Obviously, because this is quite a big series. There's like a lot of merchandise cross promotion and stuff. I saw an ad with Soletta in it that was for some branded chips in Japan. And I don't think this was entirely intentional, but the image of Soletta, like, holding up the chip and smiling and stuff does look a little bit like this was the photo we got where she was least terrified of the camera, which suits her character.
I want to see.
It's just like her sort of trying to smile and look happy just doesn't look right, basically.
Yeah.
God, there's been a lot of gay art of these two though in the fandom. God damn.
Yeah, I really do hope that they actually get together. They do have a part where, so main girl is surprised. She's like, what, you want to marry me? But we're both girls. And Weiss girl says, what, is Mercury must be pretty conservative. That's totally normal here. So they address it in that sense, and then it's like, but okay, so you're telling me that it's perfectly normal in this universe, so don't fucking wimp out on me, anime.
Yeah.
Don't even fucking...
It's weird how they are both doing...
Well, there's a chip picture.
We're doing but we're girls and but no, it's fine at the same time, which is kind of like, what are you doing? Like,
I like that it was brought up in that sense, and then they were able to establish like it is normal here. Yeah,
it can be done. So what else did you watch?
Well then, let's go right back into Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, the other big one. The other big, much anticipated anime.
Boom, 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 boom. So So obviously I'd always heard a lot about the manga and I just never like gotten into digging into it. I know that people were really impressed with the art and that it's like just really crazy and all over the place and doing stuff. So it has a little bit of that like Dorohedoro energy, but not quite to that extent of weird abstract shit yet, at least.
I mean, the thing I really appreciated about Dorohedoro was that like it felt a little 90s in terms of how like gore could just happen at any moment and it was fine.
Yeah.
Does Chainsaw Suit have some of that? Is it like a kind of gory show?
You said Chainsaw Suit.
Sorry.
I was thinking about Chainsaw Suit too. Famous anime webcomic Chainsaw Suit.
Yeah, I know. I miss Chainsaw Suit. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
I like your work.
It's pretty like violent and stuff, but the setup, like in some ways it's kind of generic because it's like there's devils and they're around and you fight them and they look like stuff and you kill them. And there's special people who kill them and they're devil hunters. But the main character is this big buff teen guy, is pretty cute, named Denji. And he's spent his entire life in debt to the mob because his dad like died owing them a bunch of money. So he's very put upon in that way. Mm-hmm. And he like sold one of his eyes and sold one of his nuts, and nuts come up pretty often. Very funny. It is actually pretty funny. I'm down. Because he gets into a fight with a guy later in the story and he just keeps kicking him in the nuts. And the guy's like, "You really did just kick me in the nuts." And he's like, "That's what you do. You fight too nice. This is the one way to fight. You kick him in the nuts." So everything's going pretty bad for him. But then the guys who he owes money to, they make a pact with the devil that's the zombie devil. All the devils are like the something devil. They try to kill him and his beloved friend Pochi, who's that, you've seen it, the little dog thing with the chainsaw sticking out of his face. I love him. But he doesn't exist for long outside, in any case, for now. I don't know if something else happens later. So they both get stabbed through and they're both dying. And Denji's like, "Take my blood. That's what demons feed on, right? And then maybe you can live at least." But instead, Pochi like becomes part of Denji and heals him and makes him into Chainsaw Man. And he's like, "I always liked when you would tell me about your hopes and dreams. I want to see those. So I will live on inside you and help you. And you go live your best life."
Wow.
And it's cute. So now he lives for both himself and Pochi, and he has a chainsaw pull on his chest that when he pulls it, he becomes Chainsaw Man.
Okay. So he has a henshin?
I wouldn't say there's like there's no magical girl henshin, but yeah, he does. He gets the big mask with the chainsaw coming out of it, and he has chainsaws in both his arms, and he's Chainsaw Man.
See, this is too close to Chainsaw Suit.
Well, shit, it is like the chainsaw. God damn it, he's Chainsaw Suit Man. They just took that and ran with it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is like a very kind of like dark, somewhat horny shonen kind of thing. There's a lot of people wearing suits, which is very important. Because after he defeats the zombie devil, he's found by Makima, who's like the head of this department or whatever. She's pretty hot. I saw a lot of art of her and I always thought, this is a pretty hot girl. So her relationship with him, I don't know where it goes. I've only seen, there's 3 episodes of the anime out right now and I've seen the first 3, but I've always seen like art where it seems like they were going to have like this super sub-dom relationship where he's like her dog. And they do kind of talk about it in that way because she's like, "Well, if you ever try to leave our devil hunter organization, we'll just kill you because you're a part devil. And so you're not allowed to exist unless you're working for us." And even in the OP, there's a shot of him on like a dog leash and she's walking him around. But so far in the story, like she's mostly just like the management and he hasn't gotten to interact with her much yet since they like initially met.
The meme that I've seen going around is people getting further into the story and having the initial reaction of, "Oh yeah, she's hot, she seems cool," and then like coming back to it later and going, "Oh my god, I fucking hate her." So,
yeah, see, like, I mean, it's obviously like this is an abusive dynamic, when you really look at it. But he's very like teen logic. He's just like, she's just hot. I don't care. I'm down. And she gave me the udon, and now I'm living the good life, and I want to touch her boobs someday. It's my dream. And
that's his hopes and dreams, to touch a boob.
No, yeah, like episodes 2 and 3, it's what he gets like very shonen hype music thinking about. Is that one of these days he's gonna touch a fucking boob.
He really is like an id shonen protagonist then. That's fun.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother me too much because it's not like an older anime where he's just like trying to go and grope it. It's just something that he's thinking about, and he's like, okay, I need to work towards a situation where I'm able to touch them. Boobs. So far.
That's the big difference is like, thought and desire versus action.
Yeah.
That was always the problem with older stuff, one of which I think you're going to talk about later.
And so in terms of boob touching opportunities, so the first that appears besides Makima is Power, who I thought they were the same character back when I heard people talk about, but Power's a different character. She's this gremlin girl who's got these devil horns, and she's a kind of devil who's taken over a dead body. So she's actually like a demon devil person who's just like in a cute girl body, and she has like a lot of goblin energy. She's just like, humans, I am the best. What do you want from me? Why? I do what I want. I'm Power. And she's cute.
She does seem cute. The way I saw her described was like a raccoon who just learned how to use a knife.
Yes. Yes, it's good. I like her. Her whole story is where episode 3 ends, is like really getting to know her. And like part of her backstory is that she was just kind of like running around as this naked person eating people's blood or whatever. But then there was a cat. She found a cat, and it's like this starving ass cat, and she likes it. And then it cuts to a shot of her, and she's killed a cow, and she's feeding the cat milk from the cow. And I'm like, why? No, you don't. It's an adult cat. You don't give it the milk. You give it the meat. God damn it. Why would you give her the milk? You're a demon thing. You should be wanting to give her the thing that she actually needs, is the meat.
Yeah, this is the perspective you bring as a cat fosterer to this anime podcast.
Yeah. Look, it never ends. People always be giving these cats milk. They are lactose intolerant when they're adults.
Also, PSA, if you try to buy kitten milk from a shop, be very wary of the kitten milk that is available.
Fuck the people that make kitten milk. They're my actual enemy. I'll kill them. I won't kill them, but I wish they would not.
Yeah.
This isn't a threat. I will destroy you.
You'd like to go to the factory and make them rethink their marketing choices.
Rethink their marketing choices. It cuts to later in her backstory where now the kitten's just like real fat and happy and is just laying on her, and she's like, I don't get it. There's just something nice about this, and she just really likes the cat. But it's lead up to this situation where she lures Denji to this other demon that had taken the cat from her and been like, give me someone to feed or else I will kill your cat friends. And so she is trying to sacrifice Denji to save her cat. And she's like, I don't care about humans, only cats, which is very relatable. But he does like chomp into Denji and get some of his blood and go to fly off. And she's like, wait, where's my cat? Give me my cat back. And I will say the cat is like in a cage and it does look fine. So it must have been a while since she was able to check back in. So that the devil's been taking pretty good care of her cat, all things considered. Got to give that to him. But then for some reason, I forget, like he's just like, I didn't like that blood very much or whatever. He takes the cage with the cat in it and noms it. He just swallows it whole. And I was like, wait, but he swallowed it whole though. Wait a sec. And then he noms Power, the girl. He swallows her whole. And I'm like, okay, wait, so I know Power's not dying. That cat could still be alive, fucking damn it. and then Denji ends up like fighting and he's like gonna beat the bat. But the episode 3 ends there, and I had to go to the wiki and find out if the cat survives. The cat does survive. It is a recurring character. I had to know. I had to spoil myself. I had to know if the cat was okay, and the cat is okay.
I understand that. There's a reason doesthedogdie.com exists. People don't want to see animals die. It's fair.
And so that's very important. So there's going to be a good Neko, just always being floofy, laying on people. Yeah, and so they're just like this group of goofuses in suits that are going to fight demons and have weird shenanigans, and I'm down. And the opening is, what's his name? Kenshi Yonezu, the guy that used to be Hachi of Vocaloid fame, like from Sam Planet and whatnot. Mm-hmm. He's all over the fucking place in anime OPs and whatnot now, and every time I hear him, I'm just like, it's the boy. I'm so proud of him. And yeah, it's a fucking bop. I don't know if the full version is out yet, but I need to listen to it. And it has a lot of shots that are homages to other things. There's a shot that's a fucking shot from Constantine, which I was like, you goddamn nerds. And it's just like, it's a very good OP.
Oh, good. Do you mean the Keanu Reeves Constantine?
Yes.
Oh God.
There's a shot that mimics the shot where he, at the end of the movie, like hands the Spear of Destiny to the girl and she like has it wrapped. They have like two characters in that situation. And I was like, of all the things to parody, what?
Yeah.
And there's a lot more that I'm sure I don't recognize.
The gif of him in Power dancing is pretty amazing.
Yeah, is that from something? See, I don't know a lot of the references that, like, I think one's from The Big Lebowski. There's one's from like Pulp Fiction. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I need to like watch a breakdown.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's fun.
Yeah, and I fully expect, like, I don't expect it to be super satisfying to me in terms of like the plot or whatever, but it just seems like a good time so far.
Yeah, a good shonen time in that it'll just keep going forever and eventually be annoying.
Yeah, eventually you just kind of fall off.
I know that friend and guest on the podcast, Conan, is a big fan.
Oh, what? It ended? Someone is telling me it ended. I did not know that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. It has an ending.
Well, hey, it actually ended. Okay, so like you could get off at part 1 and be like, that was a full story. Pretty good. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Either way, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch.
Comes recommended. Okay, so Cube, if I told you I was watching a show about a teenage girl who has magic powers, the show has a frequently reused piece of animation, only used at key times when she is using her powers, and she has a mascot character that is a big, round, fat chicken that's sort of like bright gold colors that yells a lot. Yeah, what would you think I was watching?
I think you were watching some kind of magical ghouls.
Yeah, well, I'm watching Raven of the Inner Palace, which is a Forbidden City sort of palace intrigue, Chinese palace intrigue show. But yeah, there's a bit of magical girl stuff going on here.
Oh, so it's not an isekai?
No, it's not an isekai at all. No, it's a straight up period piece.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm being silly. It's not that magical girlish, but it does have like it does have just some of those odd tropes.
There's a little flavor.
Yeah, a little bit of that flavour. It's set in the Forbidden City at a sort of not particularly clear sort of time. It starts with the apparent assassination of the current Empress Dowager by some sort of lowly prince who was kicked out of the place, who is now emperor.
I'm sorry, Empress Dowager?
Yeah, it's like the former partner of the emperor who is now in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, Step Queen. There you go.
I did not know that term, Dowager.
Yeah, the opening voiceover explains that within the palace, the Forbidden City is palaces and sub-palaces and subsections. It's a fucking gigantic place. There is a small palace in the inner palace where you would find the Raven consort, who is a consort which the voiceover tells us does not perform knightly duties, despite having the title of consort. But she does have magic powers. She does have mystical magic powers, and you shouldn't go to see her because she's quite dangerous.
Can she turn into a bird?
No, she can make birds, but she doesn't turn into a bird.
Oh, okay.
There is some sort of big bird in the OP. Haven't had an explanation as to what's going on there. You get the impression that the Raven is like an ongoing role. Like there's a bit of a blurby sort of thing about how some people say she's very old, some people say she's very young. What it actually is it's just like a role that the person keeps being replaced every time the next one passes on.
Lupin situation.
Yeah, kind of. She's this sort of reserved woman who lives alone in this small palace. She has no servants or much contact with anyone else. In general, the emperor, whoever the emperor is not meant to really be in contact with her either because she's considered a bit dangerous and, mysterious and supernatural and all that sort of stuff.
Oh.
But this emperor goes straight to her, this new emperor, who is this former lowly prince, because he wants help tracking down the owner of this earring that he has. He thinks the person who owns it might have passed on, and he wants the Raven consort's help in tracking this person down. Because all of her stuff is generally connected to the dead. That's kind of the mystical stuff she does. Once you get past the first 2-part episode, it's kind of like she's a mystical detective within the Forbidden City.
Okay.
People come to her with like sort of odd requests, generally connected to the dead, and she sort of helps them figure out what's going on. I quite like her in the lead. The character is like 16. She's cute. She's very sure of herself and quite forthright. Like she keeps just sort of telling the emperor to piss off, because she's not supposed to have any contact with him, and she doesn't think he's going to have anything she can do for him or he can do for her. But he's very persistent. Emperor's quite nice. Seems nice enough if a bit guarded, and he tends to win her over by bringing her bags of dried fruit, which is like because she's also a kid who doesn't have much nice food, so he'll just chuck a bag of apricots at her and she's like, fine.
Do you know if this is based on like a light novel series or a manga or whatnot?
It's based on a light novel series, which I went to go have a look at it, but it hasn't actually been. The translation of the first volume is coming out in like March next year. So this anime was made before it. This is the first English adaptation of the show.
Gotcha.
She sort of adopts a lady in waiting called Juju from another palace. So it's like it's this thing of like, the emperor also has these eunuchs who will assist her with other stuff when she's looking into stuff for him. And even though she's supposed to be living alone, this is what the last Raven consort told her. She's slowly assembling this little found family.
The power of friendship.
Being a sort of palace intrigue type show, there's a bunch of stuff going on with everyone's backstory. Like you hear this story about an emperor of the previous dynasty, who's the this current lowly prince's grandfather.
You can't say lowly prince. I hear it not the way that.
What does it sound like I'm saying?
We're talking about anime, so I keep hearing it.
A lowly prince.
and it takes me a second. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
But okay, lowborn. Is that better? You understand better?
Hey.
Okay.
Started at the bottom. Now we hear prince.
They call him lowborn, but I guess like he's like 2 steps generationally from a previous emperor. So I don't know. But either way, that emperor took over from the previous dynasty, who were this family who all sported this really silver white hair, and he had all of them executed, and was then haunted for the rest of his life by their souls. And one thing you find out about her at the end of the last episode is, despite the fact she seems to have black hair, the emperor catches her bathing in a pond. She actually has this silver white hair. She's like one of the last survivors of that previous dynasty who's been in hiding. So she's got that to deal with. The emperor doesn't care about that at all. He makes a vow to her that he's never going to harm her because of that.
Aww.
She's cute and fun. Everyone else seems fun so far. It's like, in terms of the animation, it's like it feels like it's like probably like a B tier studio in that it's a little cheap. But it works. It works fine. The little stories they've told so far are kind of interesting. Like they've introduced another character who is this roaming spirit who's also from that previous dynasty who's kind of fucking with things. Yeah, there's some stuff going on there. It's kind of it's worth a look if you like that kind of like period piece, court intrigue,
China stuff.
Sort of China stuff. There's an aspect of the fact that it's set in China, like in that Forbidden Palace stuff, which has been done a lot in fantasy stuff. Because it's being made by like a Japanese company, there's a part of me going like, I wonder if there's like racism here I'm missing. I wonder if there's something slightly fucked going on that I just don't have enough cultural knowledge to pick up on.
Yeah. But I trust it isn't like people dress as pandas doing kung fu level.
Yeah, no, there's not that. No, definitely not that. But yeah, no, it's cute so far. I actually do. I don't know what it is. I find her design very appealing.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of detail going on for what is a relatively cheap show.
Yeah, that's a lot to have to animate.
Whenever she leaves her court to go investigate, she dresses down for obvious reasons.
And the animator's like, thank God.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it seems nice. It does seem like they're potentially pushing, well, not potentially, they're kind of pushing a relationship between her and the Emperor. Emperor's relatively young. She is 16. In like the second episode, he asks her to be her consort, and she's like, no, fuck off. But she still kind of likes him, it's clear, on some level.
Oh yeah, speaking of animation quality, I should have mentioned that Chainsaw Man is being done by Studio Mappa, and so far it looks pretty great. I'm worried a lot. Most of the action is going to end up being that kind of floaty action that they like to do nowadays, where the background's moving real fast and the characters are just like kind of flying in a direction. You know what I'm talking about? That you see in action a lot nowadays in shonen.
Yeah.
Like, and that can be okay, but it gets to be tiring after a while if it's just like there's no sense of space ever, and everyone's always just flying in directions. So far.
No, it sucks. It's that sort of people who adopted like in live action stuff wire fu without understanding how to ground it or make it interesting.
Yeah.
Like everything the Wachowskis have done since The Matrix. Where they managed to make it grounded in The Matrix, and then in everything else it's just been sort of like everyone jumping around on hover boots and kind of boring.
Alas.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been some really good shots. And it's one of the things where I understand even when it's clearly 3D, because his design would be a super bitch to draw constantly in 2D. Like he's got the chainsaws that are rotating and he's got all these teeth.
Yeah, nah, fuck that.
And they do pretty solid integration of the 2D and 3D. So I'm fine with it when I see it. I think they've gotten better at that. All right, well, since we were talking about animation, I got to talk about Do It Yourself. So I watched the 4 episodes that are out so far of it, and I'm going to keep watching it because it looks real good. I
meant to watch this one because I really did like the style.
Yeah, and as I was watching the first episode, I was like, God, I really like this style, and there's something about it that's very familiar. And then so I had to go cross-reference to see if my Sherlock Holmes theory was correct, and it was. The person who did the character designs and some of the like animation direction and stuff for this was a big important character designer and animation person on the Black Rock Shooter OVA.
Oh,
and you can totally see a lot of that energy of like the kind of like nice looseness that he brought to that and during all the civilian scenes and whatnot.
Oh, shit.
It's really good. His name is Matsuo Yusuke, and he has this style that I really do like, with kind of minimal lines and just very animated, and it's good. And this anime really leans into it, and it looks very pleasing to me.
The BRS OVA people were all KyoAni people, weren't they?
A lot of them were previous KyoAni people, yeah. And he definitely did do work, even going back to Haruhi Suzumiya.
Where's he been? Has he done anything since, like in between that and now?
He's done various things. I know he also did the character designs for that Encouragement of Climb show, the hiking show that has its second season this season.
Yeah.
But I don't think they leaned as much into his style as this DIY show does. Where it just like it feels like such his shit.
Sorry, Saf in the chat is just saying this lends further credence to their conspiracy theory that DIY is going to stealth transition into a high concept sci-fi show about the advent of a singularity.
Oh yeah, because here's the thing. Wait here. First, I'm just linking in the chat like this is his kind of style, and DIY feels like this.
Fucking the BRS characters, God, they were fucking good. They look so nice.
Yeah, it's, oh god, that's my shit.
Yeah.
And I think that something else that this is kind of pulling from a bit energy-wise is Eizouken, because there's a slightly heightened reality kind of situation going on. There's like a little bit of tech that's more advanced than ours, and the main character girl like lives with a pig and a dog and a cat, and like so like there's always like a little more, like unrealistic things than you might expect happening, but it's very pleasing because it kind of works in this whole theme about so the main character is named Yuaseru.
Yuaseru.
Like do it Yuaseru.
Oh god.
It's so bad.
I will say, I the different shows I've been watching, I've been copying a lot of bad anime puns.
Oh my god!
And that fits that's just this season. Everyone's into puns.
Yeah, and I like that. Like they're just suddenly like Yuaseru, like my name, Yuaseru. It's like, have you never realized this? Your name is the weirdest name. But that's her name is Yuaseru, and she's a super dojiko. There's a girl who's from America, and at one point she says, "Oh, Japanese dojiko."
Oh yeah, you said you were going to tell me the American student's name.
Yes, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
The main thing is that there's a main character, and she has this friend that she calls Purin, who's like this very like tsundere ojo-sama girl who has this cute short hair, and God, I just really like how her hair is drawn. The characters also all have a different color that's like the underside of their hair's color.
Yeah, it looks great.
And it just like makes it pop so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the whole thing is that like they used to be childhood friends and they've kind of grown apart, and her friend is this like super good student who's super obsessed with technology in the future. And so once Yua Serufu gets into like all this DIY stuff, she's like, that's the past. We have no need of such things now. We have the technologies and the singularities, and I don't appreciate this DIY club. So she's going to learn a lesson about friendship and whatnot. You wait. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. She's in the opening in the club. We know what's going on here.
This is really obvious about it.
Yeah, spoilers. So the way that she ends up getting into the club is there's this girl. God, her design looks like a Pokemon character. She's like this cool, short, orange-haired girl, and she's just like this weirdo who's always out in this shed doing DIY stuff, just using hammers and whatnot, like a crazy kid. And she's the daughter of a home improvement store owner, so that's why she knows so much about all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
And yeah, and she's just like really cool senpai girl. She has these little wheelie feet that she made for herself that are like these little electric rollerblades. And so she's just like very handy like that and very cool.
Sorry, I have to ask, like Gizmo Duck?
Cut you with many knives. You got orange hair, so you ends up, being friends with hers, ends up joining the club. But you know what? You'll never believe there's a situation where they don't have enough members to maintain the club.
Oh no!
And the club's gonna get shut down if they don't get more members.
Oh no! They've got to save the rec center.
Yeah. So it's her and Yua Serufu, and I forget that her name is Serufu, her like give it name. But so then the next member they get is this girl that looks like fucking Mary from Harvest Moon, this little nerd girl with the nerd braid. And she just like she's like, maybe we can get more people in the club if we make it look really cute. Because of course we're a moe anime, we gotta make everything look cute.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're working on for a while. But it is cute. Like they make this bench out of skis, and they talk about how skis are actually like good for making benches from because they're already water resistant. And like she had found something on some equivalent to like Pinterest or whatnot. And so they have some old skis and they make a bench out of it to put outside the club room. And it's like, oh, that is a cool, handy little detail. It's cute.
That does feel like a modern acknowledgement that a lot of DIY and crafting ideas do get shared around those sort of sites.
Yeah.
That's all I fucking see when I log. I log into Facebook. Do I want to see posts from my friends? No, you're going to see endless fucking high speed craft videos. That's all you get to see. That's all we have. That's all I get to watch.
Look, some of those are good, and some of those are that bullshit clickbait shit.
Oh, some of them are great, but that's not what I'm on Facebook for.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't be on Facebook anyway, but yeah.
So the next person who ends up joining their club is this little tiny girl who's from America. She's an exchange student, and she's actually like elementary school age, but she's so smart and cool that she is in middle school as an elementary schooler. Because, at first I was like, why is the teeny one the American? That doesn't make any sense. But it's because she's a baby.
Okay.
And at first she's all tsundere, and she's like, whatever, I didn't want to be here. And there's a whole joke where, so the school with the DIY club that the main character goes to is this tiny old school that's like completely overshadowed by this like super high-tech, really advanced student school that her childhood friend goes to. So like the childhood friend can always look down in the windows and see what they're doing in the DIY club because they live in the shadow of her school. And so they're like, why did this American girl actually go to our school, the older school, if she's so obsessed with technology and stuff? And it turns out that she misread the kanji and ended up signing up for the wrong school because she can like speak Japanese perfectly fluently, but she's not like as good at reading it.
Right.
And so she like draws out the kanji of the two schools and they are quite similar. So she's like, I just signed up for the wrong one.
And of course this can't be corrected.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's too embarrassing.
And what's her name?
So her name is Juliet Queen Elizabeth VIII. That's just her name.
Oh, perfect.
And they're just like, wow, that's a long name. And I'm like, that's not nearly the issue with this name as a name. Yeah, and she's from America. She's not from Britain.
It's so hard to tell when they're taking the piss. Because the names are just like this so much.
It is really good. Juliet Queen Elizabeth VIII.
The 8th as well. There's only been 2 of them.
No, it's just like they made up the name out of random white people talking sounds they remember hearing or something. Yeah. Didn't think about the word queen having a meaning. There's a cute scene where Serufu is guessing what her name is, and she's like, Lincoln, Kennedy, Obama.
That's cute.
And it's pretty funny because her character, like part of her whole thing is that she inserts a lot of gratuitous English, but of course the voice actress does not speak English, so it's always pretty funny. Just be casually being something that's like really, it's like, wait, did she say this? It's kind of hard to tell exactly what she said.
I want to be your friend. We are the world. I have Okashiori.
Oh my god. I forgot about that. Yeah, it has that vibe. But like episodes 3 and 4 are basically like kind of dedicated to getting her in the group and making her feel welcome. And then she like is hanging over at Serufu's house, and the Ojo-sama friend comes over, and then American Girl basically just ends up deciding to move into Ojo-sama's house because the Ojo-sama girl seems kind of lonely and stuff, and she clearly like can't admit it. So America Girl just kind of inserts herself into her life and is like, we're hanging out now because you remind me of me, and I'm baby, and it's like, this is really cute, and you're drawn really cute, and I like it.
So an American decides to just invade someone's home with
I was like, she's colonizing her house. But like they're both rich people, and she ends up like just getting a lot of stuff delivered via drone because again, it's like a little sci-fi,
tiny bit sci-fi, yeah.
And they're like making a hammock for her to sleep in, and so you get to see a little bit of the process of making a hammock while they're setting up and whatnot. Because the show doesn't feel too focused on the club activities. It really feels kind of like they're trying to tell a character story and not just do like the most generic idea of girls doing X.
Yeah, so
anime.
That's often my issue with those sorts of shows, is that the characters are pretty generic, and it's mostly focused on like, here's a bunch of information about how you do the club stuff.
Yeah.
If they're just using the club stuff as a framing device for actual characters, yeah, I'm way more interested in that.
Yeah, and then, you know, it sometimes has those little details of how you, like, make stuff, and that pleases me, like the ski bench. But, you know, more importantly, there's things going on with the characters that I like, and they seem interesting.
Yeah.
And episode 4 ends with the last character we haven't seen as much of, who's this Nya girl, and she just fucking comes in through a hatch in the ceiling, and she's like, "What are we doing in here, Nya?"
Oh, okay, so it's Ogura. Okay, cool.
No. But she's like this sporty tan girl who hangs out with the Ojo-sama girl at her school. So I think like she's gonna bring her into the fold and make her be friends with everyone. And then they're all gonna be friends, making stuff together. Good friends, well animated. I hope it continues to be well animated. But I'm gonna keep watching it because it pleases me.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make a tree house. That's their big thing that they're gonna do now. And it is a little like, I don't know if they could do that because they only have one semester or whatever until America Girl moves back home at least. But you know, I'm sure with the power of it's an anime, it's not too realistic. They're gonna make a super cute tree house together. It's gonna be great. Friendship.
I definitely want to check this one out. I intended to watch it for the podcast, but I saw you were seeing it and I was running out of time. So
you definitely should. It pleases me to look at.
It sounds like a nice time. Speaking of nice times, I watched My Master Has No Tail. This is an interesting one.
Tanuki.
It's I don't know where to start because it's really two shows. Like it's kind of it's a show about rakugo.
Oh.
Which is a form of Japanese verbal entertainment from like it had been around sort of technically since like the 1750s.
Rakugo is very hard to, as someone who like didn't grow up with it in your culture, it just seems like someone telling a big long story that's like, I guess that was kind of weird. Haha.
Yeah, so it's it would be crass to call it Japanese stand-up comedy, but that's kind of what it is, I guess.
But with less jokes, without like the clear jokes.
Yeah, with more sort of codified rules. It does seem like a lot of it's puns. The basis of the art form is that the performer sits on a stage raised a bit above the audience and only has like a fan and a bit of cloth and maybe a wood block as props to sort of tell a story that's generally based around two characters that they do impressions of. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of a folk storytelling type thing. The stories are usually comical. Sometimes they're sentimental, but they're usually just comedy. It was very popular in Japan for a while until, I don't know, better things came along.
No, yeah, like now it's something that people will be like, Rakugo.
Yeah, it's a sort of thing you would see at like a cultural festival or something. Yeah. But like, you know, prior to the advent of cinema and those sorts of things, it makes sense as like this was just a popular form of like, you know, verbal storytelling and stuff. One half of the show is sort of, you know, based around that as like a sort of explaining what it is and how it works and all that sort of stuff. The other half of the show is about the sort of sad decline of the ability of tanukis to trick humans in the modern age. That's what the other half of the show is about.
Yeah, because so I thought that this was just a show about a silly tanuki girl. What is happening?
Yeah, so this is the thing. So the first thing that happens is we meet the tanuki girl, who's Mameda, who lives on this island with the rest of like the sort of the tanuki who are still around. And this is your mythical tanuki, in that it is an animal that has magic powers that can turn into different forms and things and make things out of leaves in order to just fool humans. That's what they enjoy doing, is messing with humans. Mameda is odd because she's still like really into learning these tricks and wants to go mess with humans, whereas all of the other tanuki are trying to explain to her. We're in the Taisho era at this point, so it's like 1912, 1920s.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're quite far in the future, and they're all trying to explain that humans don't fall for our shit anymore.
I thought it was modern day. I didn't know that it was like a period piece.
Yeah, it's like a century back from now. There's some mystery involving her dad, because her dad was also a bit of an oddball like her, in that he went and lived in Edo as a human, and was sort of, he would come back home to the island every now and again and see her and stuff. But there's this running idea that like the tanuki have sort of accepted that they just need to live separately from humans from now on because they can't really mix with them anymore.
Oh, someone's saying it's Osaka, not Edo.
Osaka. Oh, sorry, so Osaka. Yeah.
Your ban.
Whereas the dad's saying that like that seems sad to him. So he's like just not around at the moment. And we haven't really been told why or what's going on there yet. So she really wanted to go to Osaka to meet people and mix and stuff. And they keep telling her, no, when you get there, don't mess with humans. You can't mess with humans. You get in trouble. Do not mess with humans. And then she's like, no, I won't.
I'm a mess with humans.
And she gets there, yeah, she wants to mess with humans. Predictably, it doesn't go well because it's not that she's bad at it. It's just that like she tries to pay for food with leaves that have been turned into money, but she doesn't know about watermarks, so she gets caught. She tries to do what is apparently an old Tanuki trick where you walk up to someone as a human, but you don't have a face, and you reveal that you go, blah, you don't have a face. And it leads, she does this to like a border guard, and then it cuts to this scene where she's in an interrogation room just saying, yes, no, I was born like this. I don't need to go to the hospital. Can I go? And there's one woman who, while she's sort of lamenting the fact that she's not having much success, this woman's hat sort of flies away and lands in her hand, and she turns into like a handsome man to attempt to fool her. But this woman picks out the fact that she's a Tanuki straight away and is telling her that like, this is not going to work. You are going to get in trouble. You need to go home. And she says to her, you know a lot about this. Are you a Tanuki? And this woman has been like, no, I'm not a Tanuki, but you need to go. Mamada, though, later on gets sort of shoved into an entertainment hall where Rakugo is being performed. And the woman with the hat is performing, who's apparently this very famous performer called Bunko. Now, because, like I said, because this is about Rakugo, we get long segments where we see the person telling the story. The way it's delivered in the show and why Mamada becomes obsessed with it is because she sort of gets drawn into the story and feels like this is another way to trick humans because she's sort of being tricked as well. Like she starts to be able to picture really vividly what's happening in the story and all the parts of it and stuff.
The concept of fiction.
Yeah, she gets really intrigued by this storytelling. She passes out at the hall and is in there, but then the humans she's been messing with catch up with her and they're chasing her and they're going to attack her. But at the last minute, she's saved by Bunko, the performer. And she's saved by Bunko in a flying boat. Because Bunko is not a Tanuki, Bunko is a nine-tailed fox. She's a kitsune.
Hey.
And she's sort of doing the same thing that Mamada wants to do, which is like this is as close as she can get to still messing with humans, in a sense. And so the next few episodes sort of follow like, she's still trying to make Mamada go home, but Mamada insists on staying and becoming her apprentice. And then eventually she's convinced to take her on and she takes her to the hall and we meet all the other characters who work in the entertainment hall who... this is a cute little explanation of like, despite the fact that Rakugo is a solo performer on stage, there are all these other people involved in the production that make the whole thing work. So it's all about a teamwork, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's cute. Like there is a cute aspect of the fact that eventually one thing you learn about Bunko is that, yeah, she likes fucking with humans too. Like they both kind of enjoy that because that's who they are. They're Tanuki and Kitsune. That's their nature.
Yeah. There's
this inference that like as much as humans complain, humans like being messed with on some level as well. So it's not like nasty or anything. It's just kind of like this is our roles.
Yeah.
These are our roles in the world, and it's cute. And the animation's nice. All the character designs are cute. I really like Bunko's design in particular. Her haircut is interesting.
yeah, she's got like that cute shortcut.
Yeah. At the end of episode 3, there's an inference that there's some other broader plot going on that I assume is going to involve her dad because we still haven't found out what the deal is there.
Ta-dum.
Yeah. There was... I do like that like... You do get little flashes of aspects of actual like Tanuki and Kitsune mythical bits, which I always enjoy them because they're often just really gross. Like... there's the bit where she's like running from these humans and she jumps off this tower and she starts you hear her explaining that she figured she'd be able to get away by jumping off the tower because Tanuki have this way of floating that involves making their scrotums enormous and turning them into parachutes. So she was going to escape via scrotum magic before remembering that she doesn't have a scrotum because she's a girl Tanuki.
I don't buy that she wouldn't realize she doesn't have ones.
She panics. It was the joke, but it's more just the fact that like in the middle of this fairly moe show, we just get this illustration of a Tanuki with an enormous scrotum.
Well, yeah, like the statues and stuff look like that. They have big old balls.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun.
It's crucial.
I like that we just occasionally get those hints of the gross, like these gross aspects of these myths, and it's like, oh, that's gross. I love it.
There's nothing gross. They just got big old magical balls. That's nature.
It's a little. I found it a tiny bit slow, but I was actually genuinely kind of interested in learning about Rakugo a bit. There's little aspects, things like, she's saying she wants to stay and learn all this stuff, and she doesn't mind being laughed at because she's used to that because she used to get bullied by the other Tanuki her age for being someone who was still interested in doing that shit. It's a nice show. Each episode does end, though, with something that I thought was kind of an odd choice, which is Mamada explaining the joke of the Rakugo story we just heard. And like, the joke was obvious enough. I didn't need an explanation of what the joke was, and also explaining the joke never makes it better.
Look, I know it probably went over your head, this very advanced Rakugo comedy. Let me explain it for you.
I mean, in general, they're just like, it's a straight man and a silly man, and they make some puns, and that's generally like, that's the whole joke. I was like, that's fine. But like, yeah, the explanations don't add anything.
It's funny because he's stupid.
Basically. I don't know. I thought like there was going to be more, like, they're going to explain to us specifically how the Japanese puns work, but I guess the Japanese audience doesn't need to hear that, so yeah. I don't know what this segment is for. But yeah.
Mysterious.
But yeah, that's my Master Has No Tail. It's cute. It's worth a watch.
All right, well, while we're on some comedy things, it's time for...
Oh, yeah.
So Pop Team Epic. I watched 3 episodes of this. I think a few more are out, but I haven't gotten to them yet. But it's a good time. I watched the first couple episodes of the first season, but I never actually got around to watching all of it. And I really should go back and watch all of it, because this season opens with some weird tokusatsu situation.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, there's a hot girl in some tokusatsu clothes, and then someone comes out of a portal, and it's her from the future or something. Or wait, or maybe it's a guy. I'm actually not sure, because it's a tokusatsu beautiful person. But but then they have a whole tokusatsu opening, and it's very real. It's very legit, and they just kind of do that, and then we won't mention that again. And I was wondering if it was following up from anything or not, but I have no idea.
It being Pop Team Epic, I would entirely expect that it wasn't following anything and we're never going to get it again. That's just kind of what they do. This is what The Lonely Island was so good at, in terms of you just make the thing you are parodying as real as possible, and there is humor in that alone.
Yeah.
That this is far better than it needs to be. There is no reason for you, for the sake of this joke, to have gone this hard.
Okay. So yeah, the first season did end with this Aoi guy. And
okay.
yeah, see, someone's posting screenshots where it's it ends here, Shota Aoi. I will put an end to you. And then he puts his hood down and he has a glowing red eye. It's what is it? Me? And then there's this a whole fucking fake ass tokusatsu opening of time adventure, and there's all the suit and the toys and they went for it, and it's just so it could be a Kamen Rider opening. Why did you do this? I love it.
That's awesome. Pop Team Epic has, for me at least, has always had an aspect of it's kind of like trying to watch Mr. Bean, in that I can only stomach so much of it before I have to stop. Because I had a similar thing with Gal and Dino, which wasn't at the same level of energy. It just But it was the same, if not more, level of just entirely baffling.
Yeah.
And I just had to go. I just have to walk away for a while.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah. You not saying Mr. Bean? I suppose maybe you wouldn't have.
The guy that what does he bumble around solving mysteries or something?
No, it doesn't solve mysteries. He just bumbles. He's a Rowan Atkinson comedy character from the 90s. It was a very popular British series.
Yeah. See, I know this guy's face. I really thought he solved mysteries.
No, there was no plot. It was just him doing something, and he was an idiot. That was the entire thing. Which it's fair to assume he was solving mysteries, because just about every British show someone solves a mystery, but no, that wasn't Mr. Bean.
It just seems like the kind of thing they do over there.
Yeah. Pop Team Epic.
So I don't know if I've just lost some sanity or if the show's gotten more coherent, but so far this season feels like it's easier to follow than the previous season.
That's interesting. Okay.
Because it feels like, they're still doing the thing they did last time, where each episode is only half the length of a normal anime episode, and then the second half is the same episode but done with the guy voice actors.
Yeah, I've never understood the point of that, to be honest.
I think it's just funny to hear those famous guy voice actors being these little middle school girls. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
You don't expect the little middle school girls to have those guys' voices.
Yeah, but it gets old. Surely that gets old really quickly.
You'd think, I don't know, it seems like they're having a fun time, so I'm you have a fun time, you guys. It seems like you're having a good time.
Are those voice actors famous? Because that was the thing with Gal and Dino as well, where they did the second half where they redo it, but with that middle-aged actor playing the gal.
I think they're well-known comedy dude voice actors.
Okay, so it's the same thing, because that was a guy who was reasonably well-known playing the role, and otherwise it's just baffling, and I don't get why you're doing this, but part of the humor is it's that guy, which is completely lost on anyone outside of Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like do ad-lib a bit and whatnot. So like the first episode has that tokusatsu thing, and then it's about how, so they have this whole scene about Popuko trying to show off to Pipimi, and she's doing tricks with her teeth. Where they like move her, she like closes her mouth and then opens it and the tooth has moved, but she's just so hurt because Pipimi is able to do all the same gags, moving things with her teeth.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, "What? You can do it just like me? No!" And she's like, "What is it that I can do that no one else can do?" And then they sing a song about searching for the thing that she can do that no one else can do, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
And so like there's a contiguous amount of time in which a certain thing is happening.
Okay, that seems a little more easy to deal with because it used to be so rapid.
Yeah. And then they will still have a lot of like the equivalent of single panel jokes, but I found like them much easier to get than I remember the first season ones being. And so I was enjoying it even when they were going very, just shotgun. Oh yeah, and there's a recurring segment in this season that's called B-side, where it's just like other jokes that you already know them doing, but they're drawn like these bishonen, like these beautiful boys. I mean, they still kind of look like anime girls to me, but they're talking more like serious and they're wearing guys' uniforms. Like it's just them doing their jokes, but the joke is that they look like these beautiful anime boys,
Okay.
and I kind of like it. Especially because a lot of people ship these two and whatnot, so it just seems like they're just leaning into that.
It is kind of, I do find it funny that people ship them because it's like, I still don't feel like, well-rounded characters or anything.
No, they're just chaos beings.
Yeah. I mean, ship who you want, obviously, if you find some appeal there, but it does feel weird.
Yeah. Something I didn't quite, I don't know if the first season had like crossovers, but this season has fucking like just Chocobo shows up and then they're doing a Chocobo dance with Chocobo. And it was like, why is Chocobo in this show? I don't know. Why Chocobo? And then in episode 3, they do a thing about Nanachi from Made in Abyss, I guess because it's like the same studio or something, same publishers. And I was like, oh no, it's Nanachi from Made in Abyss. I don't need to see anything about you. Get out of here. But it didn't last too long. I survived. Also, the opening and the ending slap. They're so fucking good.
Yeah.
The opening is just like a really like hardcore rock thing. It's ridiculous. I love it. And I just love their like super chaos energy.
Yeah.
There was a cute gag where they're like doing a press conference for like, we're really excited, thank you for supporting us for Pop Team Mecha Season 2. And then Popiko is like, fuck all of you, blah, blah. And then Pipimi immediately is like, we're here to apologize for everything. Like it immediately becomes one of those apology press conferences.
That's cute.
And it's just like, yeah, it's like, it just makes you smile. So yeah, I want to watch more of it.
The comedy is well executed. It was just, I just found the first season so frenetic and kind of tiring, but if it isn't as exhausting, that kind of sounds good.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch the first season and see how it feels. But so far this season, it's striking a nice balance between just utter nonsense and gags that you can parse, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so the last show I watched was Bocchi the Rock.
Yes.
Now, this one, I was quite impressed by this show, more so than I was expecting to be. The basic pitch is moe anime girls in a band, but this is not much like Heion, if you want to draw a direct comparison to something.
Tell me about the butchis.
So we meet this girl called Hitori, who's just starting middle school. She has intense, severe social anxiety. And she sort of does read as a bit neurodivergent.
Yeah.
I guess, because like on top of just struggling to talk to people, she tends to overthink things a lot, struggles to make eye contact, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, going into, she didn't have any friends in elementary school and all that. And, the teachers used to have to come and hang out with her during picnics and that sort of thing. She's sitting at home wondering about she'd like to change, but she's got no idea how. And then on TV, there's a band. And one of the members of the band says that he was a lonely kid at school and never spoke to anyone, but then he joined a band, and that's bands are places where introverts can shine. and she gets this whole hopeful thing, and this is what I'm going to do. And she borrows her dad's guitar, and she says, I'm going to learn, to play guitar, and I'm going to, this will make me popular, and I'll start a band, and it's all going to work out. And then it cuts to 3 years later, with her starting high school, And she is extremely bitter and mad that it did not work.
Oh, no.
She didn't make a single friend. She didn't play the cultural festival. She never just started a band. She didn't ever manage to talk to anyone.
Alas.
And so going into high school, she's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a band if it fucking kills me. What I do like about this that I feel like sets this apart from some of these other types of shows is the way that her social anxiety and her in general is played.
I saw your tweet about this.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, I think often when these sorts of characters, this is not an unusual character to see in a sort of, particularly in like a moe girls type anime, the very shy girl who has severe social anxiety, who's like,
Komi-san can't communicate.
Yeah, who's trying to come out of her shell. Oh god, that show's gross. Who's trying to come out of her shell, right? All those people who told me that Komi-san was wholesome, fuck off. That is just the grossest fucking show. No, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. The third character we meet is a horrible perv character. Like, it's no, go away. Fuck off. Awful show. Anyway, I'm sorry, but like I put an extremely mild take about isekais on the internet yesterday, and if for some reason it blew up, and I had people telling me isekais are actually good.
Oh shit, your Jokerification is complete.
Yeah, I'm in the mood to go off. Anyway, the way that Hitori is played, the situation at the start of the high school is that, because she has been practicing hard for 3 years, she is actually awesome at guitar. And she's been uploading covers to like a YouTube channel where she's got like 30,000 subscribers. So she's doing all right. She's reasonably well known in her town.
What, 30,000?
Yeah, 30,000 subscribers.
Be more grateful, you bitch.
Oh, no, she is. No, she totally is. Like,
oh, okay.
It's this whole thing where like she's bummed that she doesn't have any in real life friends.
Oh, I don't relate to that at all. Looking left, looking right, nervously.
But she has this. She likes the fact that people do comment on her videos and say that she's really good, and she sort of takes it as kind of a balm. And it's like, there's people who say I'm cool, and there's people who say I'm interesting, and that's pretty cool. But the second she sees someone saying like, oh yeah, I played this song in my high school band at our cultural festival, she just immediately spirals. Like, I was like, fuck, that's what I want to do.
Aww.
But what I was saying sets this out as different is that it's played very amusingly how angry and bitter she is about the fact that she hasn't been able to make friends, and it's all directed inward. Like, she really does have like terrible self-esteem and really severe social anxiety, and she's intensely frustrated with herself that she can't seem to change this. And the things she does to try and improve her situation are all those sort of things that I recognize things as like, oh yeah, this is a thing you try, but you don't know enough about what you actually need to do, so it doesn't work. Like, the first thing she does at high school is she actually goes to school in the best rocker outfit she can manage, which is like this cool pink tracksuit. She brings her guitar to indicate that she plays guitar. She's sitting at a desk reading like a music magazine, and she figures someone will come and talk because she looks cool. But obviously she needs to initiate a conversation. And it becomes clear that there are other kids who are like at school who would be quite happy to talk to her. They're just never sure whether she wants to talk to anyone. And of course she just sits there thinking that no one wants to talk to her.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, she keeps having these moments where she thinks she has like solidarity with someone. Like, she's sitting in a park after school alone, and there's what looks like a lonely businessman sitting in the park as well. And she's like, this is the place where lonely people come. And then his adorable son and wife turn up and they head off. And she's like, I'm sorry. I tried to empathize with you. And like, there's another point where she's sitting at home thinking of all the times she tried to make friends in middle school and they were embarrassing, and then she's beating her head against the ground saying, go away, horrible, horrible, embarrassing memories.
Oh no.
And talking about how like she frustrates herself so much. And the whole time I was watching this, I was just doing, fuck. This is too real.
Oh no.
But again, what makes it nice is that so you do have this character that is kind of angry and bitter, but the difference is that, like, I don't know if you remember ages ago in one of the tasters, we watched that show about that woman who ends up being an angry radio DJ.
Yeah.
And she was a similarly lonely, bitter sort of character, but they did that sort of annoying for comedy but just makes everyone unlikable thing where everyone in the show is just a genuine asshole.
Yeah.
Like, they take all of their frustrations out on other people. Hitori does not take her frustrations out on anyone else. She directs it entirely inward. Like, she's angry at herself. Yeah. That's where she's at. And it's like, it's one of those things that it's like, yeah, this makes her still likable.
Feel it.
Yeah. And I feel it. I really feel that. Anyway, so the thing is that while she's waiting in the park, this other girl who sees the guitar runs up to her and says, my band is playing tonight, but our guitar is split. Can you please come and fill in for us? And it's fun because, again, she sort of gets dragged into it. It happens, because she did choose to come to school dressed like this and bringing a guitar, so it was like partially something that she did. But there is that aspect of like she has a much more open person dragging her along and helping her improve.
Right. Look, I'll take that fantasy, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It moves the plot along. So that's the drummer. She's very genki. That's Nijika. That's her name. There's Ryo, who's the bassist, who's I mean, it feels unfair to call it a cliche, but as the bassist, she is like very kuder and a bit rude in a sort of very deadpan way. There's again a moment like Nijika mentions that Ryo doesn't really have any friends, and for a moment Hitori is again feeling that solace, that connection with another person. But then she realizes Ryo doesn't have any friends because she's quite happy being alone. Whereas Hitori would like friends, and it's like, oh, okay, we don't actually have anything in common. Bar.
Oh, fuck this bitch.
And yeah, it gets to the point where they practice before the gig, and she's sort of thinking, well, I'm pretty good at guitar. This should go okay. But she sucks in the context of playing with other people, particularly because she can't make eye contact with them, so she can't sync up with the rest of the band.
Aww.
And because she has a bit of a spiral, she ends up playing that night inside a box of mangoes. Just a cardboard box. And there's this moment where she sort of it's played a lot like the sort of thing the inspirational moment at the end where she's like, I'm finally playing in front of a group. This is what I've always wanted to do. But then she's like, no, I'm playing inside a box because playing inside a closet is the only thing that makes me comfortable. This is actually a low point. I fucking hate this. And there's this nice thing they keep emphasizing that like the progress she is making is very gradual. And while she is intensely frustrated with how gradual it is, they're not really shortcutting it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the sort of thing that I appreciate about the show is that it's moving, like that sort of thing is moving slowly. It feels very lived in. The anger and bitterness and desperation is all there. And I feel all of that,
Yeah.
And it all being directed inward as well. Like it's there's got a lot more, I don't know if depth is the right word, but it has a lot more sort of like
texture.
Just that sense of being lived in,
Yeah.
like to what this sort of situation is. And it also, I just watch it going, man, it says terrible things about me that I relate to this so fucking hard.
I'm in this picture and I don't like it.
No, yeah, I don't want to be in this picture, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to check it out now.
You should definitely check it out because holy shit. Like aside from the fact, it's also really funny. Like this is like Cloverworks going all out in their sense. The comedy is really well played. There's a lot of good visual gags.
Use budget that animation, Clover.
Yeah.
You got a whole season to get through. You got to hang in there.
Yeah. There's a lot of good visual work. The voice actors are all really good. She gets the nickname Bocchi because the girls are asking her, like, when they're doing their first gig, how do you want us to introduce you? Do you want to go by your own name? And like she's asked if she has nicknames. She said in middle school she was called Hey or You over there because she didn't know anyone long enough to get a nickname. So Ryo is sort of word associating and comes in with Hitori Bocchi, which is Hitori all alone, and then says, do you want to be Bocchi-chan? Which is like...
Well, Hitori Bocchi means all alone.
Oh, right.
Like, the Hitori is part of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hitori Bocchi.
All by yourself, yeah.
Nijika is saying, like, that's awful, but then, of course, Hitori is just really happy to have a nickname, so she goes with it. So her nickname is Bocchi. I will also note another bit of Cube service. The first episode is called Lonely Rolling Bocchi, which I thought was interesting.
Wait, fucking, why is Lonely Rolling such a thing? Because there's a, like, Lonely Rolling Star is like a song in Katamari and stuff. What cultural context am I missing here?
Well, I mean, the thing that stuck out to me was kind of ignoring the word lonely and just looking at Rolling Bocchi because it's Rolling Girl. Yeah. Like Bocchi being the name of the girl, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and then there was also an anime called Rolling Girls. What is rolling in Japan?
Rolling downhill of depression, I guess, in the case of Rolling Girl.
Yeah, there's metaphor stuff, but it's like there's just something about that English word rolling. It comes up in a lot of these weird metaphors. I don't know. But yeah, I want to watch it now. Yeah,
you definitely watch it. It's like, aside from just being very relatable, it's also fun. It's like, I can't stress enough how much, like, as much as you do feel it, the way her anger and bitterness is played is really fucking funny. Like, it's one of those things I'm like, this is like, I have rarely seen a character like this that I can relate to this much, but it's just really amusingly played. Yeah, it's fun.
It's not just depressing.
Yeah, it's not just fucking miserable.
Sweet.
I should mention there's one out and out gay character that's introduced in episode 3.
Okay.
The other band member who the band had this guitarist who ditched them, and then they're trying to recruit a guitarist vocalist. There's a girl at Hitori's school that she gets involved who's this really outgoing, friendly, lovely girl called Ikuyo. And then it turns out that she was the one that bailed, and because she pretended she could play guitar but couldn't actually. And the reason she was pretending to get near the band is that Ryo is her senpai and she's completely in love with her. And it's quite open about the fact that, no, I am in love with her. Like, I want to, be more than friends with her and stuff. And they do that thing a little bit of like playing that as like, well, that's a bit unhealthy. But it's kind of hard to read. Are they saying it's unhealthy because it's a lesbian thing, or are they saying it's unhealthy just because this is a bad way to approach someone you like?
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, benefit of the doubt for the moment. Yeah. But Bocchi's worth a watch. It's really fun. This is the one I'm 100% going to keep watching because it's just, it's cute.
Hello.
Yeah. So what else you watched? What else you got?
So I only watched 2 episodes of Hannin no Hanazawa-san, spin-off of Detective Conan. So, and they're short eps, but I just didn't get to watching any more of it, and I probably won't, just because it's one of those things where, like, the setup is amusing, but not amusing enough to carry a whole show, really.
There's nothing else going on.
The whole joke is that he's a shadow person, like the way that Detective Conan draws the culprits before you know who they are.
Yeah.
And so he's just walking around his life as this like shadow person with wide eyes and teeth. But like it is kind of funny because like the first episode is about him trying to find an apartment in this city. It's Baker City because like Baker Street, that's what they named the big city that Detective Conan takes place in. Fucking nerds. And the joke is that like all the apartments, the one that he finds is like suspiciously cheap, and he's like, "Why is it so cheap? It's so nice." And he finds out that literally every apartment in this city is a cursed property because they all have had people murdered in them, and people are just being murdered all the time. And it's like there's some kind of Shinigami of death running around the city, and it like shows a picture of Conan, and so like it's playing with like the ridiculousness of some of that stuff in the actual show.
Yeah. It's like the old joke about like Murder, She Wrote and stuff. It's like, why has this woman been present for like 600 murders? Why is this not suspicious?
Yeah. There was a fun little period in the manga where the police chief guy starts to suspect that the detective guy that Conan pretends solves all the mysteries is like a mass murderer that he just like can't catch. And he's like, wait, this isn't what's going on, right? Well, he's always here though. You
know what sucks?
What?
I'm seeing pictures of this character, who's just the eyes and the teeth.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking of Neo. In the fucking when she's
that one shot.
Well, yeah, when she steals the lamp.
We
talked about it at the time.
Said it at the time. Yeah. God damn it! I forgot about that scene. But yeah, so like it's fun in that way, and the opening is a very good like old school Conan style opening music, and he's like doing a dramatic dance, and it pleases me. And Ron, Conan's girlfriend girl, must be pretty prominent in this show because she shows up in the opening a lot, but they really have fun with I don't know if you remember ever seeing Ron, but she has like this spiky part of her hair that makes no sense.
You got rhino hair.
Yeah. And it used to look more reasonable, and now it looks worse, like everything about Conan.
Yeah, everything about Conan is like weirdly exaggerated to the point of being kind of stupid.
Yeah. But like this, it feels like it's going even further with it because like it sticks straight up out the top of her head, like a party hat, and it amuses me.
That's fun.
But otherwise, the style of the characters looks a little more like classic Conan, and so just seeing that made me like, oh, come back, I love you, round face Conan, I miss you.
Yeah, I just remember you and Core talking about they're so pointy.
Skate off his nose. No, yeah, it sucks so much.
Is Conan in this?
He's in this almost like a cryptid so far.
Okay.
Like he'll come in and out, and so in the second episode, this guy gets a room in a share house, and he makes good friends with this other guy who's also rendered like a Hanin, like one of the culprits, and they're just like really getting along. But then that guy kills the guy who sold them the share house because that guy was being an asshole, and Conan catches him, and so he's on the news being carted off by the police, and this guy's like, oh no, my friend that I just made, I'm so lonely now.
So is this guy aware of the fact that he is a culprit person? Like, is that played on, or is he's just a guy?
He's a guy who is in town to do a murder.
Oh,
and we don't know, but so like he doesn't know that he's rendered like that or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a big joke. Like when he sees that other guy who's also rendered like a murderer, he's like, there's just something about this guy. I feel a connection with him because they're both these shadow people.
But you're saying that the premise didn't sustain itself for 2 episodes. let alone whole season.
Well, it was like, it was doing okay, but I don't know, like I just wasn't super compelled to continue it.
Yeah,
but
fair.
I might, just because it gives me that good nostalgia feel. There's a part where Two Mix walks by him, who's like their band, and the girl in the band voices Conan, but they also cameoed in an episode of Conan, and they made a big whole joke about how her voice is the same as his voice, and then Conan sings, but he's flat, and it's really funny. It's a good episode. It makes me smile. But they walk by and they see him, and I'm like, I know who those two are. This Two Mix. I remembered them. That was good times I had with Conan.
So part of the appeal of this show might just be if you like Conan and you want to have some Conan nostalgia.
I like Conan. Yeah. I look at them. I'm like, I remember when Conan was good in my love. so yeah, I don't know if I'll watch it anymore, but it did bring me a smile generally that it exists.
So it's been correctly pointed out. You're that gif of Leonardo DiCaprio from that film where he's just pointing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The mix.
So what was the other thing you watched?
Yeah, so I watched an episode of Urusei Yatsura. So a lot of people, if you don't know it by name, you've probably seen the main character girl of it, who's this like Oni looking girl with like a Oni bikini, tiger bikini thing, and her name's Lum, and she's an alien that looks like an Oni girl. And it's one of the first big hits that the creator of Ranma 1/2 and Inuyasha, Rumiko Takahashi, did.
That woman has had a fucking career. Like, holy shit.
I know, like, if nothing else, I gotta respect that. Like, so many iconic properties. She's a boss.
Yeah. But this one seems exceedingly 80s in all the worst ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, like, because it's very, like, slapstick comedy of that era. So the main character guy is just very, like, skirt chasing in an annoying way kind of thing. I mean, there are, like, some funny aspects to it, obviously. Like, I think by Ranma 1/2, she found a much better balance that I like of this kind of stuff. So the setup is that he is random. There's some alien invaders that look like these big Oni guys, and he's randomly chosen from all the people in the world to compete against them in a game of tag, because in Japan tag is called onigoko, and so like you're the Oni, you're the person who's tagging the other person.
Okay.
So he's been randomly chosen of all people to fight them in a 10-day game of tag against their champion, and then if he wins, they won't invade Earth, and if he loses, they'll take over Earth.
Right.
And he's up against Lum, who's this sexy anime girl. And it's a whole thing that, like, he's just, like, chasing her, but, oh, she can fly. He didn't realize that. But then he ends up winning because he takes her top off, and she's embarrassed, and then he's able to grab her horns, win the tag match. Okay. And it's like, ha, 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 ha. And he has a girlfriend, or not actually girlfriend, but clearly like main love interest. And it's part of like the kind of fun comedy setup is that the girl told him to encourage him that if he's able to win the tag match, she'll marry him, because the whole world's riding on this. And so as he's like catching Lum, he's like, for the sake of marriage or whatever. And so she becomes convinced that she's his engaged wife now.
Right. Okay. So he's got it's a mild harem setup.
Yeah. And so he keeps trying to meet up with his girl that he's actually in love with, and she keeps getting in the way and being jealous and stuff. And I don't know like how the dynamic maintains or changes over the course of the series, but that's the basic setup so far, is that like she's this person he doesn't want to be with, who's like, I'm your girlfriend.
Yeah,
and
sure.
He's like, no, this is my girlfriend, and they're like, we can't meet, blah. Yeah. But the other girlfriend still like gets mad at him in that stupid anime girl way, where it's like, you should know what this situation is by now. Like, it's he doesn't want to be with Lum. So, like, she's, like, finds Lum in his arms, and she's like, I'm mad at you. And it's like, you know that, shut up, anime, whatever.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, so I don't have any interest in watching more of it. It does look good. The opening is fun to just, like, watch in a vacuum on YouTube or whatnot.
Yeah, I've heard the opening's a bop.
Yeah, but otherwise, I don't require any more of this content in my life.
It does seem like a lot of the people who've said they liked it have, part of it is driven a little bit by nostalgia for having some fond memories of the original. Which I understand. Yeah,
because I definitely always saw this character and, like, vaguely knew of this series as a thing that existed.
Yeah,
and it's a cute, like, anime wife design. Like, that's fine.
And if you can deal with the sort of the particularly 80s sort of aspect of this thing, like if you're used to that, then that's, I can see you having fun with this, but at the same time, I don't want to watch that. It's not for me.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
I had to give it a shot to see what they were doing, about what I expected, but it looks pretty good, but not for me. So see you later. Well, by which I mean never.
I do like that you looked at it and went just like, this is about what I thought.
Yeah, but that's fine because there's plenty of other good shit.
Yeah, there's so much good shit. There's other stuff I wanted to check out that I still haven't yet. Like I meant to watch Blue Lock, which is the one about it's like Death Game Soccer, except when no one dies, you just don't get to play soccer anymore. Which seemed like enjoyably ridiculous. I'm told somewhat reliably that it does get good, or at least there's a few people who are very excited for it to come out because it's it's a fun ridiculous apparently. Yeah, there are a couple of others whose names escape me now. Oh, well, there's the Arknights anime that's I think just starting now, which I'm curious about. I mean, like, because I've been playing Arknights. The story hasn't quite grabbed me, but there's a lot of fun characters, and obviously the design aesthetic in general of Arknights is like on point.
Big jacket anime girl.
Aside from a lot of the characters with the big jackets, there's a lot of other cool designs too. In general, I think that's the biggest thing Arknights has going for it in terms, like aside from the actual game and whatever. It's just a lot of fun designs. So I'm curious to see how that comes out in an anime. Was there anything else you wanted to check out?
Well, Mob Season 3.
Oh, of course,
already mentioned, but yeah, I mean, I don't need any more to check out because I got Mob Season 3. I got Bocchi the Rock. I gotta continue Chainsaw Man. I gotta continue Do It Yourself. The Gundam Witchy. Pop Team Epic.
Yeah.
That's a fucking full ass slate.
Yeah, there's a lot to watch. You mentioned it briefly, we were talking earlier. I would really like to go back and look at Isaacin again, possibly for the purposes of a slushy, because there was a lot going on with that show. I thought it was quite interesting. Aizouken, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
As much as I thought it did fall a bit flat right at the end of the first season, that show was cool.
Yeah.
And those characters were cool and everything. It had so much cool shit going for it.
Kind of really needs a season 2, feels like.
Yeah.
Get on that anime, guys.
Particularly because it did end on a bit of a down, not a down note, but just kind of like, it wasn't as big of an ending.
Not satisfying for a series ending, maybe okay as a season ending.
Exactly.
More,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, more please. I guess that's it. So yeah, we've got the next Sailor Moon is the next project. I think this is probably coming out before the Drakengard slushes, I would think, yeah?
Yeah, I'm finishing up the last page of a chapter of Sleepless Domain right now, and then I'm going to probably take like a couple weeks and do some kind of filler content and get a lot of stuff that I've been needing to get done, and one of those things will be the 2 Drakengard 3 videos. I just haven't had time.
Yeah. Cube been very busy. Those will come out, but so I think what we might do is this will come out, and then either the Drakengard slushies or the next Sailor Moon slush, I think, will be the thing.
That all sounds... I mean, obviously, we've always got plenty to do.
Yeah, we
just gotta fucking make the time to watch the anime. I've started doing anime and treadmill again, and I need to fucking stay on that shit.
Yeah, I do too. I need to get back to that stuff. Hopefully, we'll both be less depressed soon, and we'll be able to have energy to watch anime and talk about it. Okay, but yeah, that's some stuff to watch. Go watch anime.
Watch anime. Maybe you can also watch anime on the treadmill or on the bike. Get some laps in there.
Yeah. Well, see you guys next time.
Have a nice anime.